Freshwater pool. Welcome to my home. My family and I moved here in 1870. I was just 10 years old at that time. I was the 9th child born to Betty, that's my name, isn't it? Martha and George Poole. I was born out at the old Weeksville plantation. My father came from a large and illustrious family. He was a very prominent farmer and businessman in this area. His brother, George Poole, was also very prominent. He was a congressman. Did anybody here go to the University of North Carolina? No? Well, Uncle Solomon Poole was the president of that university. He was there during the Reconstruction years. Those are the times that followed the war between the states. And then there was Uncle William Poole. He was a doctor in the area. And I have a story to tell you about him later. Well, as you might notice, I walk with the aid of a cane. When I was but a child, the nursemaid dropped me to the floor. My spine was permanently injured, and as a result, I could not attend school with my siblings. But I was determined to learn, and I did. I had a fertile imagination, and my friends called me the little storyteller. Well, eventually I took my storytelling and I put it to writing. I became a successful author, and I wrote 3 books and several songs. My one song, Carolina, was the straight song for a while, and then I wrote The Era and Other Stories, Under the Brazilian Sky, and then I wrote the literature of the Albemarle. It's a tale from Era and Other Stories that I wanted to share with you this evening. It's a story that involves my uncle, Dr. William Poole, and it's a mystery that's never been solved. It centers around that portrait hanging on the wall. Well, during the summer of 1869, Dr. Poole was out at his cottage at Nag's Head. While he was there, he was called to the bedside of an old woman named Mrs. Mann. While he was tending Mrs. Mann, he noticed this portrait hanging on the wall of that shaggy old fisherman's cottage. Now, it was obviously painted by a master and very out of place, so he asked her about that portrait. And she told him this story. She said that when she was but a girl, a ship came to shore, and there was no people on it. Well, the land wreckers went out and they plundered that vessel. She had a sweetheart at the time, and he was one of the wreckers. He was given that portrait and several silk dresses in exchange for his part of the plunder. These he gave to Mrs. Mann. The year that this happened, we were still fighting the British. Now, she gave that portrait to Dr. Poole in exchange for his services. Now, being a well-read man, when he got home, he realized that that portrait was none other than the picture of Aaron Burr's daughter, Theodosia. Now, I know that you remember your history. Aaron Burr was the vice president under Thomas Jefferson. Now, he's the man that shot Alexander Hamilton in a duel. Well, his daughter, Theodosia, was lost at sea when she was on a voyage to visit her daddy. The year was 1812. We were still fighting the British. Now you gotta wonder, how did a portrait of a fine young lady like Theodosia end up on the walls of a shaggy shack in Nag's Head? That's the mystery. Now the plausible answer is that the ship was lured to shore by land pirates. Now you know what land pirates were? Well, they would tie a lantern around the nag's neck, and they'd march that horse up and down the beaches. The ships at sea would see the lights, and thinking that it was the lights of a ship and could save it harbor, would sail in. Well, they would crash on the shallow shores. The land pirates, the reckoners, would go out and they'd plunder the vessel. Now, we don't want to talk about the human crowd, or that's best left undiscussed. Well, many people think that Mrs. Mann and Theodosia were one and the same, and that she lived out her life on the banks of the Nag's Head. Now, who knows? We don't know if we'll ever know the truth, but it's a good mystery, don't you agree? Well, my life was never so as exciting as that, or interesting. I never did marry, and life was not so easy for an unwed woman. I ended up teaching school to support myself and taught school out of my home on Dyer Street. As I got older, the money got thinner. We didn't have welfare during those days, and I would have been too proud to accept it anyway. But my friends and my family were good to me. And my young friend Fred Faring, would take and milk his daddy's cows every day and bring me a quart of milk. And in exchange, what I did was I would tutor him. When he was in 3rd grade, he got a scholastic achievement. Well, I've been yammering on long enough, and I need to get going, and you need to get out of here. So you all get going, and thank you for coming to my home. But remember, when you're out there on the Nag's Head, think about Theodosia and how she ended up on the wall of a shaggy old fisherman's shack. Good night and have a good evening. Thank you for coming to my home.